Now, a year ago, when I started this, I've said that I was at my lowest point. Always been a really, really strong person. If something can make it work, I would. Always positive, always solving problems, always having problems to solve. And then when I crashed and burned, when I seen that it's a system you cannot win in and keep your morals, that was the biggest trick. Is the only way you can be successful at functioning within this world is if you have zero morals. And that really pissed me off. I went to a Tony Robbins course, and he's teaching everybody how to manipulate and control other people for wealth, and definitely says you got to use this with morals. And then at the end of his seminar, he had zero morals. While he got everybody like so pumped up, I mean, you were totally programmed to feel on top of the world. You heard everything you wanted to hear. And then he says the words, if you want this feeling to last, you got to spend another $10,000. And then a whole pile of people lined up with their credit cards to buy another $10,000 course. Then they woke up from the dream when they got back home, and their family gave them shit. And it's like, some of them were people that were trying to work on their finances for their family, and at the same time keep their family together. Not, because there's always a lot of conflict when there's no money. So a lot of people went there to gain knowledge in how to make more money so that they can have a better relationship with their families. But ultimately, it was a course that made you feel on top of the world for 5 minutes, get yourself into more debt, and go home to more arguments. And that's doing it the Tony Robbins way. Because he has no clue of what morals are. Forgive him for he doesn't know what the hell he's doing. And a lot of people are fans of Tony Robbins because they make him rich. But we have to look at, do we really want to be rich? Everything that's happening right now is because there are more people on the world that know the difference between right and wrong. And it isn't because of the book you follow. It's because how you're interpreting any book that you follow. Is it teaching you what morals are? What are morals? What's the moral right thing to do? What's the moral laws? I think every single person wants to be happy. I'm going to go along this road where all of the rich houses are. These, I'm sure, cost a little fortune, but they're not exactly the fancy. But depending on how far I walk down here, we might see some massive houses. But every single person in these really expensive houses aren't happy. They don't have morals. They don't have values. The only moral they have is focus on my own assets. Focus on myself. As long as I have big stuff, then I'm good. They don't recognize their outside world. They don't recognize that there's poison and toxic everywhere. And as wealthy as all of these people are, where are they putting their money into? More of their own wealth, and they're not recognizing that most of the things they're making their money off of is actually killing people. So it's like, who's really asleep? It's the rich guy that's attached to their stuff because they can't recognize that their stuff is actually killing people, and if they had morals, they wouldn't be killing people because ultimately they're going to end up killing themselves. So be the change of what it is that you want to be. Do you need to have a big house to say who you are? You know, when you have no air to breathe, where's that big house going to get you? You know, you have to decide what it is you want to do, what it is you want to be at your core. And I truly believe everybody wants to be happy. I truly believe everybody wants to be healthy. One of our biggest humanity problems is healthcare. Have you noticed nobody can solve the healthcare problem? Only the rich can afford good healthcare. But even the rich eventually die. So how well is their healthcare? And so why is it the medical world can't figure out how to make it work for everybody? And I mean, even in Canada, where you can walk in and not pay, well, you're walking into a doctor's office that has a book that says, if you behave like this, this means you have this disease, here's the pill for it. And all of your behaviors are perfectly normal, perfectly natural. There's a cause to why you're doing what it is you're doing. And the medical world doesn't want to look at the causes, because you can't change City Hall, you can't change the world, you have to fit within the world. So it's like, that's what our healthcare problems are, is we're busy creating hell, and we're really desperately trying to learn how to love it and live in it. And it's like, hell's gonna kill you. And it ain't going to be a pleasant experience, no matter how much you fool yourself into believing it is. There's another park. This town has little parks that come off the road in between these houses. So the answer to healthcare, first of all, you got to know what the possibilities are. And a healthcare system that's functioning now can't have you actually believe you can cure yourself. That's why they don't let marijuana be free, because it'll actually cure you of a lot of problems. But at the same time, it's a medicine. And as long as you're taking a medicine, something's wrong. And that's the problem, that these antidepressants don't work, or how they started, is they noticed that a lot of people started getting really depressed. And this was the time when I first had a massive depression. They gave me the first types of antidepressant, and I was like, I'm not a depressed person. So it's like, why did I get depressed? And the only reason I needed these pills is because I wasn't eating. I didn't eat for 3 months solid. Nobody believed me, but yet I was anorexic. You could see every bone in my body. And everybody kept thinking I'm wasting my money on food in restaurants, and they were fighting me about that. And I'm like, why is it you can't listen or believe me? I'm not eating. Nobody cared that I wasn't eating. They were cared about the money I was supposedly spending that I didn't. But I stopped eating, and after not eating for 3 months, all of a sudden the tears will just pour out of you. And you don't even have to be depressed to have tears. It's like when you've got your period. Men won't understand that, but you can just cry for no reason. And that was what was happening to me. Definitely was sad about something, but it was an event I was sad about, and kept replaying the same. Some guy dumped me, and it really left me depressed. And so for 3 months, I'm like, why would somebody do this? Why would somebody do this? To the point where I was killing myself. I wasn't eating. I couldn't function. And I needed pills. And the pills never got rid of my depression, but what they ended up doing was helping me eat. That one depressant that was really, really good is no doctor will ever hand you that out because there was no side effects. It was one of the first good ones, but they needed to improve on it. Almost like, how do we harm people more with medication? But I refuse to take any type of pill now because I know the processes. And basically, what got me out of that depression is I told myself a different story. This particular guy wasn't exactly the best for me. I knew it. His lifestyle was would have dragged me down, would have led me down a really bad path. And so I told myself a story that this guy loved me so much that he didn't want me to go down a path that he was going down. And he did it out of love. All of a sudden the depression left and I was able to eat. And all that happened was I told myself a good story that made the universe support me instead of the universe support me into something that felt bad. So that's kind of what we all got to do, is take responsibility for the things that are happening in your life are happening because you want them to. You know, take some responsibility. Take some accountability. Where you buy your electronics and need to plug them in is causing massive global problems. And, you know, they say shut your lights off, and it's like, you got to shut every way you're doing. If you don't like what is being done, do something different. There are so many different ways of gaining free energy. I'll think I'm lost. I'm blocked in right now. I'll show you where I'm at. Nice big huge house. Another house right on the corner. And the only way I can continue is if I walk around this, which is probably why I bet you any money they built it that way, so that nobody would walk on their property. You know, public beaches, you're supposed to be able to walk around. But this really looks like it's man-made. I mean, they put cement up there, cement all the way around. You know, fucking greedy people. Their house isn't big enough. They just can't get anybody to. And then they got peace signs on there. What a contradiction. You know, look at their greedy boat. You know, but so nice and peaceful to walk on a beach. But no, put something up there that prevents anybody from continuing. You know, I want to stand out. Look at some of these docks on their private beach. And they don't even know how much they're killing other people. So, in the end, they end up going to give themselves cancer. It'd be interesting to see what diseases they all die from. I'll continue on another tape.